We are now broadcasting live on YouTube, as I have been doing for, I guess, a little while now. This is my 3,861st video. This is really only, I guess, I don't know how many videos I've done live on YouTube, but it's certainly a few. We're going to try something different, as I teased out to the channel this particular weekend. And you can comment in real time as this video progresses for however long it takes to get through the topics that I want to tackle and that you want to tackle today. Let me go ahead and post the teaser out on Twitter so that they know what's going on. It's now posted there. We'll also get the update out on Facebook. If you're not following me there, you should. And then, of course, Google+. I did mention that I was going live there earlier as well, but just to give everybody a chance to join us for this particular conversation, that's what's going on. We decided, though, not just based on your feedback, but really based on our particular goals, how we wanted this live daily YouTube broadcast to kind of unfold. So everything seems to be working. I'm getting comments from people. Hello, Chris. What about Siri proxy? Talk about that, says P Network 12. Well, I think it's interesting that people are, trying to use Siri in ways that it wasn't designed to do out of the box. But beyond that, if it's not integrated seamlessly, I don't know if the features are going to work all that well. And that's the whole thing that makes Apple stand apart from the rest of the universe, is that it's not that they just release a feature, it's that feature is implemented and integrated in such a way that it's seamless and it's a good experience. So I think Siri proxy, certainly I think a great exercise in what you can do, but is it a great exercise in will it work well? Not so much. So there you go, P Network 12, my perspective on Siri proxy. Just jumped right into that there. Going to go ahead and, keep reading the comments that you guys are posting. But I wanted to get to some other issues that came up specifically over the weekend. Hopefully everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. I certainly did. Diana did an amazing job. You may have seen the photo as we uploaded it to however many social networks I happen to be connected to. It was an amazing, I would say, traditional / new additional dinner. I know, what's the opposite of traditional?
I don't know.
She doesn't know. I don't know. Maybe you guys can help us come up with a word. So, we did an article about how to explain your job to parents and relatives. And this is something that comes up, during the holiday season. You have to, meet with, your friends and relatives. Well, you don't have to, but most people do. And it comes down to me, explaining what I do to friends and relatives. I tell them, look, I'm myself. And somehow I'm able to figure out how to carve a career out of being myself. And that's really difficult for some people to wrap their head around. And I think, we're entering a day and age where you, whether you have a job today or not, are going to be able to carve out a similar career around being yourself. Could you imagine, if you love technology and talking about it, ever finding the day where you could wake up, talk about technology, and get the bills paid? That is a very difficult concept to wrap your head around. Kelly's done a pretty good job at explaining how better to explain what it means to have a career that doesn't have a box that you could have fit in before. When I graduated with a degree in English education, that's what I thought I was going to do. And I'm not doing that at all. I'm still educating to a certain degree, but I'm using the internet. I gave a presentation a couple of weeks ago to a local Rotary Club, and there were a couple of students in attendance. I guess they were giving away some student awards with Rotary Club. And one of them stood up and said, I want to pursue a degree in robotics and political science. And I think that is exactly, what today's future job force, today's youth, really, I don't know how you would explain it. I think that's what students of today have to look forward to tomorrow. And without, these constructs, these traditional constructs that have defined us, you can do anything. You can be anything. And I think it's absolutely possible. If you list down, on a sheet of paper, 5 interests, 5 things that you want to do, I bet you anything you can make a career out of doing just that. And to explain that to somebody, sometimes you just point to examples. So I think, I don't know how it got translated, but Diana was trying to explain to, I think, her family what it was that I do. And did it come out that I work for Google?
Yes.
I do not work for Google, despite loving their products. But sometimes you have to explain it in terms that most people can understand. And bringing relevance to anything that you explain, specifically in relation to your job, I think is going to help you really translate what you do into a career, as well as evolve how you explain what it is that you do to other people. I'm a content creator. It's what I do. Some people call me a geek. Some people call me a space cowboy. Some people call me Maurice. Woo! Woo! Do you get that reference? You do? That's a shock. Do you get the reference? Well, hopefully you like the article. Quick question here. Did I lose my virginity? No, I know exactly where I left it. Rolling on with the headlines. 5 reasons you may or may not want to buy a Nintendo 3DS. And first of all, I have owned a Nintendo Game Boy. I think I still have the original DS, and then I got a DS, what was it, DS Lite or something. I've had like so many Game Boys, and the only game I seem to play on the Game Boys is Tetris. Game Boy is a great brand, an amazing platform, but I cannot think of the last time I walked into a game store. My primary gaming device is my smartphone. Really. I've got the phone on me wherever I go, and I'm using that in general. You know that I'm probably using an iPhone, but that could very well be an Android or a Windows Phone 7 or a Palm device or a RIM, if anybody uses BlackBerry anymore. So, to me, I like the idea of a separate gaming console, a handheld gaming console, but the writing was on the wall for Nintendo when Apple announced the App Store. And now you have the Kindle with its, specifically the Fire, with its App Store and games that can be downloaded to that tablet experience. Android markets, you can get games, for very, 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 very cheap, like 99 cents, $3, $5, or free. I haven't had any experience with a 3DS, personally. I would not spend any money, personally, on a 3DS, because I know my pattern is, I get it, and then never use it. 3D, as I've mentioned before in several videos, is a gimmick. Like, you get a headache after a while. I mean, you're cheating your eyes into believing that a flat experience is really three-dimensional, and it doesn't translate well. So why would you want to get a 3DS? Well, you love Nintendo. You've got, a lot of money invested in the experience with the Game Boy. You want to have something that is 3D-ish in your pocket. And you use it frequently. If you don't use the Game Boy today, and that's what you have to look at here. And I know someone's making a comment right now. Give me a second. What should I... and I'll answer this in a second. What should I do with my PSP? I was going to burn it, but I hacked it after I hacked it and played Sonic for a while. I got tired of it again. I have a PSP as well. You remember I was trying to sell it? Here's the thing. I still have the PSP and so many UMDs. I've got the DS. Actually, I've got a series of DSs and a handful of cartridges, but I'm not going to sell them because they're worth nothing. I can't sell them for like $2. I'd be lucky to make $2, and at which point I'm like, why would I even sell it for that? I might as well hold on to it. So why would I continue to spend money on a platform that's interesting and kind of fun, but ultimately kind of not going anywhere? I know the Wii U is coming out, and maybe there'll be some kind of Game Boy crossover with that controller. I don't know how Nintendo's going to play it out, but I honestly think the writing is absolutely on the wall for these handheld gaming systems. I think smartphones are absolutely going to, if they haven't already like clobbered them over the head, I think the nail is going to be on that coffin within 2 years' time. I don't think Sony will have a portable system unless they can tie it in possibly with the PS3, or they can have an app experience akin to what you might find with the Android marketplace. And I think that's where Sony would be wise to invest some time into. Like Amazon's done with the Android marketplace, if Sony took the same route, or if Nintendo took the same route, I doubt they're going to use Android for their platform, but they need something like that. Nintendo's got great titles, great brands, Mario, Zelda, I still love Kid Icarus, Metroid. These are things that Nintendo has, but could they make more money by taking those games and putting them on Android, iOS, or beyond? I think so. I doubt they will, but it'd be nice. I think it would just be absolutely amazing. Cool Mario Dude, love the handle. Locker Gnome, I have all the Game Boys and I still have games that work except my Game Boy Color. So it's nice if you already have the games. If you don't, the gimmick is just, I don't think it's worth it. 3D is just a gimmick. Again, the article, 5 reasons you may or may not want to buy a Nintendo 3DS. You may agree, you may disagree. You've got my perspective. Now all we need is yours. New app, Brass Monkey turns your iPhone into a cloud-based game controller. Now here's another article that was posted that I knew about for a while, and I'm surprised this hasn't been covered in more tech publications. Essentially, they've got a technology that allows you to wirelessly tether your iPhone or your phone in general. They've got an SDK to a remote system that's running a web browser. So a few months ago, actually, was it months ago or years ago? Do you guys remember when I did a video controlling the Death Star trench run? It's a Star Wars game that you can get on iOS. I think it's like $5 or so. And you can use your iPhone as a controller and control an experience that is on a remote screen. And I actually did the demo. I set up the camera and everything. That's what they've done. They've made the iPhone a controller for a browser-based video game. Now think about that for a second. This is the future of consoles. Imagine flipping on your TV, and you can do this now if you have the computer connected to it, and then using your phone, your smartphone that you have on you, as a controller. So it's nice if it's got an accelerometer or a gyroscope in there, so that you can, pivot and move it and, slide and whatever you need to do as the controller. And depending on the game you play, that controller's interface is going to change. This is huge. So there is an absolute place for things like the Xbox 360, the Wii, the PS3. I mean, these are powerful systems. But again, how far are we with something like a Google TV or a completely different device than Apple TV and being able to do just that? I can use a remote control on my Android device to control my Google TV. I could use the app on iOS to use my iPhone or iPad to control a Google TV, or I could use my iPhone, which I don't have on me. Pretend my phone is here in this general area. Yes, I'm seeing your comments, by the way, as this is streaming live on YouTube. Using that phone as the controller and the TV that you already have as whatever that app is allowing you to do, whatever that game is allowing you to do. We're already there. On live, it's kind of there. The controller is really that missing component in terms of something that we all have on us. And most of us have smartphones, at least the geeks have smartphones. We have televisions. We have computers potentially connected to televisions. It's really something that I had not seen before. Mr. Rankinator says, sort of like what Nintendo wanted to do with the Wii. That's exactly what someone else had said in a comment thread on Google Plus when I shared this article this weekend. And Brass Monkey, I've asked them, where are you going to go with this? I mean, I can imagine, just not needing a desktop web browser and just somehow just connecting the console wirelessly and then using, whether it's Bluetooth or another type of wireless technology, to better interoperate with any television. Imagine being able to turn any television that was connected. Actually, it wouldn't even need to be connected to the internet because you've got the controller there, and if the controller beamed the game onto the TV, everything would be right there. Everything you would need would be right there. And I think that's, if you haven't heard of Brass Monkey yet, I'm shocked, because this is something that they kind of played around with the Star Wars, the Trench Run game currently available. I did the demo before, as I said. And I think we're going to hear more and more about stuff like this. Turning the television into a console on demand. Effectively, your smartphone at some point in the future can turn into a console. It's kind of already there now. You've got some amount of that with AirPlay on iOS to a certain degree. Very, very limited in this capacity. You're still tethered to an Apple TV. But we're getting there, and I think Brass Monkey has done a pretty good job. So if you want to take a look at tomorrow's gaming platforms, don't take a look any further than what might be in your pocket or your hands at this point in time. Again, the article is written kind of covering in depth of what Brass Monkey is doing and really the ramifications for the rest of the gaming industry. Someone asked me what I think about SOPA. You caught the video last week. Really, you got all my thoughts. So I don't want to repeat them. You can watch that video again. By the way, thank you for the likes. Everybody who's watching this video live can like the video. It's a little tricky to do after the video has gone live. You can do it, but yeah, I think you have to use the mobile experience to like it. So thank you for liking the video. Thank you for tuning in. We had a guest writer, Eddie Ringel, write about AT&T and the T-Mobile merger, or the buyout, effectively, not going through, and really what this means. And I thank you, honey. We have some live juice here, live streaming juice. Is this what this is? Oh, this makes the video better, like a million times better. So, in my estimation, because I know some people have asked what I think about the merger, I think it's a bad thing. It's a very bad thing. I would like to see, more competition in the marketplace, and if AT&T were to T-Mobile, I mean, what competition would we have? Verizon, really. Sprint, not so much. Sprint is actually, more reliant on AT&T for its infrastructure. The idea, though, that we would lose T-Mobile, a bigger player, certainly not the biggest in the industry, what could be gained from this? Well, certainly T-Mobile would potentially finally get an iPhone. People have jailbroken the iPhone to get it to work on T-Mobile's network, and I think if you want to do that, that's your decision, it's your money. You can do what you want. But we need competition in the marketplace. This is what kills me about these types of discussions, and I'm glad Eddie brought this up specifically. The title, AT&T's T-Mobile Buyout, a Washout. Is it really done? Are we going to see it go through? I hope it doesn't. I've said it over and over and over again. Competition is healthy. If you don't have competition in the marketplace, you end up with products like Internet Explorer 6. I mean, that browser was around during the Clinton administration. Was what? How many presidents ago was that? 2, 3, 4? I'm horrible at math and history as well. So, people are inclined to say, well, Google Android's better, iOS is better, Windows Phone 7 trumps them all, RIM, BlackBerry, no, they all need each other. Not one of them is better than everything else. If they were to, let's say, for argument's sake, Android was to wipe the world clean of iOS. Let's say, iOS just, died. That would be a problem. Without competition, how are you going to one-up? There's nothing to one-up. There's no reason to one-up. You need competition. You need people using other platforms. And it's the same thing in the wireless marketplace. In fact, one of my when I learned about how the wireless industry is managed in Europe, for example, I'm like, wait a minute, so I can take any phone and bring it to any carrier? That's crazy. I mean, that's real competition. Wouldn't you want to just buy a phone and use it wherever, whenever, and not be locked into any contracts? That is true competition. And I'm telling you, if AT&T merges with T-Mobile, that's one less competitor in the marketplace. How are they going to compete? And just as a segue, to bring in some comments, what do you think about the healthy competition of Facebook and Google+? They're two different tools, completely different. Facebook is not like Google+, and Google+ is not like Facebook at all. Google+ is more like Blogger or Friend Feed. Facebook really doesn't have an equivalent. I think people want to compare them to each other, but that's like comparing a Kindle Fire to an iPad. It's really not a good comparison. The idea, though, that we can't have competition in the marketplace, I think is dangerous for everybody. You need to have as many players in the field. And this is, to me, the number one. AT&T's big enough, okay? They're not losing money. In fact, they're probably sitting on bandwidth that they're not even sharing with the rest of us. I'm an AT&T subscriber. I pay my bills. I've done videos saying I've been very happy with what AT&T has done. They're not perfect, like any company is not perfect. But if you take T-Mobile off the table, I mean, who do we have in America? Who do we have? Verizon and AT&T. Yes, there are some bit players, and T-Mobile I would consider a bit player. We've got, Virgin. We've got Sprint. We've got, who else? You always think AT&T, Verizon, AT&T, Verizon. You need competition. So, good analysis by Eddie. In his article, AT&T's T-Mobile buyout, a washout. Don't know if you want to see it happen or not want to see it happen. Why? Why do you want to see it happen? Why don't you want to see it happen? I'd be interested in your thoughts now that you have mine. See here. Yeah, see, even Goo H-Man said AT&T is actually sitting on Spectrum. I told you. Let's see here. Moving along. So I did an article this weekend. Actually, it was just last night. Winter Preparedness for Geeks. If you missed the video, Diana had assembled the Hoth Wampa cave. That was a gift. Thank you. We had my Amazon wish list posted. Someone bought it. They sent it. It was sitting there, and then suddenly Diana said, I want to build some Lego this weekend. This was a few weeks ago. And she did it. And I turned around, and it was done. I'm like, well, let's do a video. So we uploaded that video to the Locker Room YouTube channel. Hopefully, you've seen it by now. It's kind of fun, lighthearted. And I decided, well, I'd like to write something about this. I mean, beyond Lego, which, of course, I love. And so I decided to write Winter Preparedness for Geeks. And I threw out the question to the community: to prepare for winter, what should geeks do? And you'll love these responses. And I said geeks and nerds too, not just geeks. Ionian Blue: buy USB powered heated underpants. Do they even make those? I would not wear USB anything. USB is great for plugging into computers and walking away, but that's about it. That's obviously not everything it does. Chris Hayes: continue to stay indoors. That's a great possibility. I will likely continue to do that. Rich Gilberto: dedicate a Linux box to run a Yule log screensaver. It's a good idea. Gabe Pavelka says uninstall their CPU's cooling fan. Think about that for a second. I don't know if I'd recommend it. I think that was just kind of a jest. Caleb Honeycutt: hibernate. Simple as that. If you have other possibilities, feel free to comment. Says roast Zuckerberg on Google+. See, roast Zuckerberg. Kind of tripped through his name. You know who that is, right? Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook. Roast him. Yeah, Brian Omv said stock up on Hot Pockets and Xena tapes. Does anybody still watch Xena? Jorge Cerda says get tons of ramen and make sure to pay the internet and Netflix bills. Nicholas Roberts says continue to live out their entire existence indoors. Joe Bolin says buy a fuzzy Logic coat. How's that for geeky? Nate J says keep a steady drip of data flowing so the pipe doesn't freeze. Your internet pipe. Mike Dubish says switch into the wool Spider-Man costume. And Phil Horde says forage for content. I added my own possibilities, like design an Arduino-driven Android-controlled snowplow. I thought that would be geeky. Assemble a sled from old software boxes. Recycle. Collect dead batteries to use for constructing action figure dioramas. Study semaphore in case power lines are iced over and fallen. I thought that would be important. Train your dogs to play werewolf. You ever play werewolf? Hopefully you never get sucked into that. Either way, I decided to extend the article, beyond having fun with it, into more serious things that you can do related to technology and making your world a safer one. It's important to be prepared for winter. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get the word out there. Like I said, stock up on extra batteries. Install electronic carbon monoxide detectors. That's a silent killer. Actually, Weird Al Yankovic's parents died from carbon monoxide poisoning. And I also did mention, not to curb this on a more somber note, but James Kim to bring up winter preparedness, died from hypothermia after getting lost in the Oregon backwoods. And this is something that you should be thinking about. You never know when you're going to need something, and that technology may very well save your life. So again, the article, Winter Preparedness for Geeks. If you have anything more to throw in there, feel free to comment or remark, or I guess share it forward. Oh, someone said read a book. I did make that recommendation too, although I also said make sure that it's something like on a Kindle or something. Pages are so 15th century. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Then we also have an article written by Creighton and submitted today, How to Reduce Spam, Junk Mail, and Unwanted Phone Calls. I don't know what you guys do about all this, but I check the mail about every day, and when I look through it, it's junk. Would you say, honey, about 90% of it's junk?
Yeah.
We recycle so much. I mean, it just seems that that's all snail mail is good for anymore, is getting junk. This is one of the reasons why, and Creighton does go into this, very rarely will I sign up for anything anymore. Really, I mean, someone says, here, get a free card for this or save X% on that. I'm very careful about what I sign up for. I always look for check boxes and, what am I getting, and am I getting the magazine? I go to a store and they say, here, do you want to sign up for a list? Like, no, I don't. If they ask for my mailing address, no way. I don't want it. I've taken most of my bills and moved them online or set them up on an automated payment system. I don't want to deal with physical mail anymore. When it comes to things like spam, I do give my email address away. I mean, Chris@Pirillo.com, you do know that. I am very careful about who I share my email address with. We've had, a long-standing history with keeping people's information private. When I started Locker Room in 1996 as an email newsletter that's still around, and hopefully you guys have subscribed, because we send out updates every single day. Please, if you can, I'd appreciate it. It's kind of full loop. Head over to lockergnome.com/subscribe, or you could look in the sidebar on Locker Gnome for the subscription form. We don't give out email addresses. We don't share it. All we use it for is sending out information that we're publishing on Locker Gnome. That's it. Nice and simple. But you can't always trust people for doing this. You know you can trust me, dude. I'm not gonna do that. People would rake me across the coals. I would be drug out into the street and beaten within an inch of my life if I gave out email addresses. I wouldn't do it. My whole reputation's on the line. But you don't know that when you walk into a store. Someone says sign up for our email list. No, you don't know anything about who they are, or where they're sharing information. So the way my tip, and again, Creighton has other tips. My tip is, I only sign up if they allow me to use my Facebook account. This is really the number one use for my Facebook account, is setting up logins. And here's why. I don't want to memorize another password. I don't want to memorize another account. I want to be able to control that subscription. And if I revoke the privileges that an app has or a site has, they're gone. I don't need to worry about unsubscribe this, unsubscribe that. They're gone. They should be, theoretically, if they're playing nicely. It's one of the reasons I still use Facebook. Of course, you're going to get hit by comment spam. You get hit by other kinds of spam that you can't necessarily avoid, at least with a great degree of ease. You can set up filters. That's a given. But to me, the bottom line is just think before you sign up for anything, before you share anything. Be careful about who sees your email address. Be so careful about that stuff. Do I care? Absolutely. But I would rather put my email address out there and let people know how to get a hold of me, and have that, and just let software kind of take care of the filter. Just watch out what you happen to be signing up for. In terms of phone calls and stopping phone calls that you don't want, don't give out your phone number. Go on Listing's got a couple of other tips, but what I do is I don't answer the phone. Very rarely will I pick up the phone. I'll only pick up the phone if it's family or a close friend, if it's a coworker, if it's my girlfriend. Of course, honey, I pick up the phone. We usually text, though, back and forth. But here's the thing. You want to know how I cut down on unwanted phone calls? 99% of them. I got rid of my landline. I no longer have one. It's just my mobile phone. And I have also set up, I have to pay AT&T $5 to block certain phone numbers from coming through. I still can't block blocked calls, and I still can't block unknown calls, which I just won't answer them. I won't, flat out. Unless I know who's calling, there's no way I'm picking up that phone. It'll go to voicemail. So, for me, it's about, controlling what I put out there and controlling how I let other people get in touch with me. You guys may have different tactics out there. The great, just to add to comments, the great Toy Box here says, I'm sorry, what is snail mail? Not sure if that was sarcastic, but it's mail, physical mail that comes in. We started calling it snail mail when email was out. Austin J. Pritchett says, LastPass is a good password manager. I never used LastPass. I thought the user interface was kind of clunky. I personally prefer 1Password, which is available cross-platform now. That's my favorite. I don't know what you guys use for password managers, and I think that's in relation to account management. Use an answering machine to screen your phone calls. Says TFPFP. Answering machine? Wow, talk about antiquated. Sure, I guess you could. Google Voice for the win, says Target Hunter 9. Yes, that's another one that people use. I use cups with strings attached, says 187OMG. Good way of limiting who can get in touch with you. Surely letting the phone ring will get annoying. It is, but slightly annoying. But I usually leave my rocker switch on vibrate. Not a big deal. Very rarely do I even hear a ringtone, to the point where sometimes I'll leave it on, the speaker on, and hear a sound like, what was that? Was that a tweet? Was that a message? I don't know. I don't have sounds on anymore. The funny thing is, though, that yes, there are ways that people are going to get to you. If you limit how they can get to you, you're going to make yourself a happier person. So just be very mindful about what information you put out there about yourself, and know who you're giving that information over to. And hopefully you would never find that I would abuse that. Like I said, I've got a reputation that's 15 years deep, and I'm not disappearing anytime soon. So Creighton has other suggestions. You likely have suggestions as well. How to reduce spam, junk mail, and unwanted phone calls. So we, right now, are using a variety of methods to get our data out there, data being content. And, I'm using Canon Vixia HV side thing just to get the name right. This was actually a gift. This camera is a gift from YouTube last year in conjunction with B&H Photo. They did something for some producers, and I was very happy about that. But I'm not using the microphone on board. This is a question we get kind of frequently. People ask what mics that we use. And Matt Ryan had written an article for Obsolete Technologies that defined audio production that you might take a look at, if only to have fun. At one time, you'd have to carry around like a voice recorder. I don't know if people probably still buy these things, but why would you? Now you can get a smartphone app, if you even need an app, if it's not a native app, to record everything you need to record on your phone. In fact, most of the voice work that I might do for a brick film that people need help with, I'll just kind of dictate into my phone. And I use that, and the microphone on the iPhone, at least iPhone 4S, is outstanding. I've got, right now, I'm using a Rode mic, which I did a review on a while ago. It's on a different setting, though. We have it going through the camera. It was being attenuated, but this recording is not attenuated. I use an Audio-Technica, an AT2020 as a USB desktop mic. I've talked about the Yeti before for, a lot of the audio production that, we might want to or need to do. But when it comes to audio, some people cut their teeth on these things called reels. When we say tape, I still talk about taping something, even though tape doesn't exist. Honey, have you ever owned a VHS tape?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, thank God. Have you ever owned a cassette tape? You're going to make me cry, aren't you?
I barely remember.
Barely remember. There's actually a photo going around. It says it has a cassette tape and a pin underneath it, and said, "Tell me the relationship." The answer to that is you'd have to stick the pin in and twist it around to either fast forward or rewind when you didn't have a controller. So Matt goes into talking about reel to reel, something called, and I had no idea this even existed, Fidelipack. Then, of course, the cassette and the phonograph. Audio is something that we take for granted, and some people have asked me in the past, well, Chris, what do you recommend for doing videos? And the number one thing that I recommend is having good audio. And this is actually not my tip. It's Jake Ludington's tip. He says, it doesn't matter if you have the most amazing camera. If your audio sucks, people are going to tune out. And we're constantly tweaking audio. In fact, I've got it hanging up, the lavalier mic I just did a quick brief review on in last week's TLDR episode, one of them. We're not using that right now. I thought it'd be easier to try with the Rode so that I could, I knew I was going to be facing this direction primarily. So audio technology continues to evolve. We're surrounded by it, but sometimes it's nice to know where we used to be. Because imagine 10 years from now where we're going to be with audio technology. I mean, it's constantly advancing. We now have, it's kind of fun, unlimited tape. Laserdisc, someone at Blogo Tech. Do you guys remember any other classic audio formats? Laserdisc was really more for, I think, video, but certainly audio as well. I used to put tape over my cassette tapes to record over them and make mixtapes, because there was a little, it was like a hinge. It wasn't really a hinge. It was like a plastic tab that you would pop off, and that would make it write protected, so you couldn't actually record on the physical media. They still, I think, on DV tapes have those as well. My dad, hang on. Oh, you guys are commenting too quickly. My dad can't find CD cassette players. Man, he needs an iPod. Oh, no doubt. Digital, it's all digital these days. TFPFP is Fireman Rich. Hi, Fireman Rich. One of in fact, I'm going to announce today, Fireman Rich, right now, is the Nomi of the day. He participates on Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus and beyond. Great guy. Always got his eye out for good content. And he's really, really nice. A nice guy that you guys want to start following. Fireman Rich on YouTube. So let's see here. Cylinders. Oh! Yes, cylinders. Talk about old technology, right? That was my call for help blooper. That was part of the helpathon. I've talked about that a billion times, but I guess I can give you guys this is an exclusive. I'm going to be on MSNBC's Caught on Camera show. They're going to do a behind the scenes of what happened that day. You remember the call for help blooper that went out where the old guy is holding onto the cylinder and it breaks and it shatters and then he cusses? They're going to do a kind of a, it's not a reunion necessarily, but they're going to ask me, or they have, it's already been recorded, it's in the can. That's another industry term they used to use. But it's going to be coming up on MSNBC, talking about that particular topic. I've never owned a cylinder like that. I did own vinyl. Spring 794 says vinyl. Tech Rain Geek says 8-track. I never did have an 8-track. I'll ask you this. We're talking about, 4 audio technologies that defined audio, and it brought us to this point. What was the first piece of audio equipment that you saw, and what was the first piece of audio equipment that you used? And that, I think, is a really interesting question to ask, because it gives you a better idea of, what kind of demographics watching this particular video. We recently pulled some YouTube stats, and we're very even across the board. We used to skew very younger, but we're actually now drawing a mature audience. Those who, understand when I say reel to reel, they've got a mental image of what that looked like. Physical tape. Can you believe it? So, what was the first piece of audio equipment that you saw? What was the first piece you used? What was the first one that you purchased? I don't know if I think I won a tape recorder as a kid, like second grade, selling magazines. A tape recorder is what I wanted, because I wanted to record audio. I always wanted to have a tape recorder. And then a boombox, doing dubbing.
Well, I came across the Polaroid, remember those?
Digital Polaroid? The camera?
The instant digital, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're $300.
Oh, you mean like the old stuff? Does that record audio too?
No, I mean, I can't believe they're still that much.
Oh, well, film?
Do you remember that?
Well, certainly. I mean, there's a...
One?
I absolutely had one. Oh my God, the first camera I had. I don't want to go into it too deeply, but yeah, it was one of the Polaroid Instamatics. And then it pops out.
How much was it?
Oh, I don't know. I got it as a Christmas present. Oh, but you had to be so careful when you had to deal with physical media. Oh my God, this video is never going to end because I could reminisce about this stuff all day long. So we'll pass it back to you for a response, and thanks to Matt for writing the article. You cisco ended flip video limit, a long while ago, Cisco, and I need another drink. Cisco ended of grape juice plus. They ended the flip video line due to smartphone sales. Do you think it was a good idea to do so? I never really compared the Flip to a phone at all. Seen the cameras on sale at Best Buy for about $50, while I bought mine a year before for over $200, says Frantic Fury. The first time I saw a Flip video recorder, and I think I still have one lying around. Not the one that I got originally, $99. I was like, this is shooting some okay video. At that point, 640 by 480, even in low light, it was doing a great job, better than most point and shoot cameras could do. We did not have pocket HD recording at that point, or at least it wasn't very prevalent. And I thought it was so good. I got one for my dad. In fact, I think that video is somewhere on YouTube. And I said, Dad, this is really easy to use. You record it, and you plug it in, and you can upload it to YouTube or share it. And he thought it was interesting, too. He thought it was fun. He thought it was easy. And that's what Flip did well. It wasn't that it had the best. It wasn't that it was the most expensive. It's that it was easy. Well, if you fast forward a couple years, now smartphones come with the ability to record video. If you want to know what I recorded the Hoth Wampa Cave Lego review with, that was done with an iPhone 4S. 1080p video originally. I don't know if that's how we uploaded it to YouTube, but high quality video that came with a smartphone. Well, I knew as soon as we saw certain smartphones come out with the ability to record video, the writing was on the wall for digital cameras, traditional digital cameras, as well as these pocket camcorders. And you knew I swore by the Vado from Creative for years. I sold so many of those because they were really good devices. Still are, but why use something like that when you've got a camera that comes with the phone? I was even looking at some circulars this weekend and seeing that a local electronic superstore, and I've made remarks to Diana as well about this, it's cheaper to buy a computer than it is to buy a smartphone these days. These high-end phones, these all-in-one devices, are more expensive than computers. You can get a computer for like $200. But to get a decent smartphone, it's going to cost you a few hundred more, of course. I knew that it was going to happen. It was inevitable. It was absolutely a great idea to drop the idea because they really weren't going anywhere. I wasn't the only person to say that. The quality was questionable, wasn't that great, and you can get just as good quality, if not better, from a dedicated camera, certainly, but also with the smartphone that you likely have on you. They made the absolute proper decision for it. I think they could handle it differently, but they should have been doing more to getting their technology out there, before the prevalence of smartphones and really, I would say, cameras that paralleled what Flip was doing. And you always have your phone on you, seemingly. Everybody's got a different perspective on the matter. But I'm curious, what do you think about what happened with Flip? Did you have one? Do you have one? Do you still use it? I don't. I mean, it's a spare, but why? The quality is questionable. Audio is not that great, and I've got a better recording device in my smartphone than I do or ever did with Flip, and I've already paid for it. So, what's the point? It's a good question. Thank you, by the way, for, I said this earlier, thank you for the likes. We appreciate it. You can like this video at any point while it's streaming live. I don't know if you can do it with as much ease after it's streamed live, but we certainly appreciate that now. So we've got another article that was published today on Locker Gnome. Pardon me, I'm doing all this talking live kind of takes it out of you. About Verizon sharing more information about the Galaxy Nexus. Is it coming out soon? And, I think the Galaxy Nexus is, to me, probably the first Android phone that I really, 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 really would consider carrying around with me every day. Would I switch? From using iOS to Android, it'd be a trick because I've got a lot of money invested in iOS and the App Store and whatnot. A lot of people are looking forward to these next generation Android devices, and I know that even people are commenting live here. J Hit says iPhone. Red Bull fan says 479 says iPhones are better. Better is relative, right? But a lot of people are looking forward to this phone largely because, it seems every few months there's a new Android device. Every few months. You have to wait once a year to see a new iPhone, if that. But you only have to wait. See, Coke and Mento CP says Galaxy Nexus is just another Android phone. I don't know if everybody would agree with you on that front. When I sat here and watched the ice cream sandwich announcements a few weeks ago, live on YouTube, I don't know if you guys caught that. It was kind of late at night. I was really excited about ice cream sandwich. It was something that, I think they've finally evolved someone mentioned a Nexus Prime right there too. Finally evolved it to the point where they're smoothing over a lot of rough spots, which, I've had issue with, as other people have as well. I'm not the only one. And I think, the more Android devices are out there, new next-gen devices are out there, the happier people are going to be. There could be a million Android devices. All you need is just one good one. Now, the question is, what do you believe that one good one is going to be? Galaxy Nexus only has hype because it's the first ICS phone. ICS, by the way, is short for ice cream sandwich. It's true. Ice cream sandwich. It does look delicious, theoretically. But in use, that's, you separate the men from the boys at that point. In actual use. I get excited with software. I've always been a software junkie. Certainly we all know that. But where does this fit in the grand scheme of Android devices? Because it may be the best today, but a couple months from now, it's no longer the best. I don't know about you, but I can only afford barely to upgrade my phone once a year. But the nice thing is that I was able to sell it for a good price because people wanted to buy it on eBay or wherever. And then I recoup the money, so it's like I get free upgrades, like indefinitely, well, at least with the iPhone. I couldn't upgrade my device more than once a year. I couldn't. The Apple Kid 2011 says Droid Razor. 212 NAF says, I like my Nokia 8310. Some people still use Nokia. That's kind of shocking. AL Jorub says, I find it annoying you buy one Android phone and the next week a new, better one comes out. It is a prime frustration. Apple makes a lot of money with their devices. Samsung has to release 20 times the amount of phones to make up that lost margin that they might have if they only had 2 or 3 phones. Samsung has a lot of phones. Samsung's doing, I think, an outstanding job with, the resources at their disposal. And I think, despite Google now having Motorola, Samsung is still very, very interesting for me in terms of what they're doing in the marketplace. Will it be enough? Will it be enough? Player Guz2 says, all a phone needs today is Excel, Word, and an internet browser. That is absolutely true. I think that it's something to certainly watch out for. If you're looking for a new Android device, this seems to be the one to get. So we've written an article talking about why this might be a good device for you, why it might not be. You may have different opinions than I do. I've talked about Android in the past. I want to at least let you know that this is something that is very interesting to me. I would like to get my hands on one and play with one to see how well it works in the field. We shall see how well it goes. Verizon I have no issue with as a provider. But to round this out, Pre73 says, Android is providing so much competition for iOS. Even if you hate Android, it's because of it that it is as good as it is today. That is absolutely true. Competition, as I've said over and over and over again, including in this live video, it is absolutely essential for this industry to move forward. We constantly need revisions. We constantly need not an enemy per se, but someone to look at that isn't doing what we're doing, but doing something similar. It's got to get better. It's got to evolve. Competition needs to be there for this industry to roll forward. Quite honestly. So there's the question: is it right around the corner? The Galaxy Nexus coming out soon. Well, Verizon has shared more information. Might be here. We'll see. Are you going to get one? The other day, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, we were still awake, or I was still awake. I thought that Diana was asleep. And you asked me, do you have an invite to Pinterest? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
Yeah, I had something like that.
Something, yeah. And I'd heard about Pinterest before, and I guess one of the founders is actually from Iowa. And I said, no, I guess I don't. I hadn't really thought about it too much, this Pinterest site, Pinterest.com. I didn't quite understand what it was. Because on the surface, it just looked like another photo sharing site. And I guess, the bottom line is it's very popular, apparently, with the DIY crowd. It could be described, as some have said, like a delicious, but for images. And so Kelly Clay had written an article about why you don't love Pinterest, but you should. And here's the thing. If you have not heard about Pinterest yet, you likely will. And it seems to be very, very popular with females. People in the DIY crowd, cooking. Diana loves food spotting. I don't think you use the app, but you like pictures of food. I do too. I like actually eating the food, personally. I'm more of a fan of the eating than anything else. So Pinterest allows you to pin photos to your wall, your Pinterest wall, and then share them. And other people can repin them if they like the images. So you can be surfing the web, you find an image you like, you can pin it. And so it's kind of like bookmarking that image and sharing that image forward. So it's not like Flickr as much. It's not like Instagram. It's not Facebook. It's not, because it connects to Facebook. It's not Twitter, but it does connect to Twitter. It's like a bookmarking service for images. And it's extremely popular. I had no idea. So if you don't love Pinterest, there may be a reason why you should love Pinterest, if only because people are starting to pay attention to it. So I reached out for an invite. I think Kelly got me an invite because you need an invite to get into the system, and pinned a couple photos. I admit it. I don't get it. I don't understand Pinterest to the same degree that other people do. Gravity Beat seems that there are tons of fashion photos on Pinterest. Geek fashion, maybe I'd be interested in. Beyond that, I don't really know as much. You can pin anything that's an image, and then it links back to the site where you happen to pin the image. But you don't have to actually own the image for it to be pinned. And if you pin the image from a site that isn't the originator of that image, well, the originator of the image doesn't get pinned. The site that was embedding the image is the one that's pinned. So people love it. The iPhone app, I got to tell you, having downloaded it, kind of sucks. It's not that great. But you might want to take a look at it, if only because everybody and their grandmother is taking a look at it. I don't know why. I'll certainly be pinning things. I've got the account now. Might as well use it. I don't know really where it fits into the grand scheme at this point. I'll admit it. I am one of those, and I'm very grateful that Kelly wrote this article, who does not love Pinterest. But then again, I didn't love Foursquare when it was announced. I didn't love Instagram when it was released. Sometimes it takes a while for me to get to like something. I got to figure out where it fits in. And I guess when I like an image, I just, I like the image, but I don't think about putting it or sharing it somewhere, especially if I don't own it. Maybe, I don't know, someone had mentioned, I think, in the Google Plus discussion thread for this particular topic, someone says they love Reddit. They just use Reddit for images. And Diana loves Reddit. What'd you say the other day? Where's this been all my life?
Yeah, because when you're bored, it's perfect. I was actually looking at it right now.
So
Not
there,
that I'm bored,
really?
But...
Oh, so you get this? Okay. I'm doing this live YouTube video.
I'm listening.
She's listening, but she's browsing Reddit.
I'll tell you why I like Pinterest, because of the recipes.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So Diana likes it because of recipes, and
I know a lot of girls that like it because of recipes.
so there you go. Another reason for Pinterest.
But I don't know
Actually,
why.
that's actually, now that I know that actually gives me a reason to look at it, because I could look for things like, oh, isn't this good? And if I find something delicious, I can what?
You should have asked why people like it.
Okay, so why do you like Pinterest?
Ask me.
Or yeah, ask Diana. I should have asked Diana. I'm sorry.
You're like, I don't know why.
I didn't
people
realize
like
you were
it.
browsing. You realize that by browsing Reddit while I'm doing this video, you give yourself so much cred. Is that what do you call that? She is amazing, says Kobe 24 Rocks. Honey, you are amazing.
Thanks, Kobe. Kobe?
It's Kobe. There, with that, I'll let you tell the world what you think of Pinterest, if you think anything about it at all. It's a good point. Recipes. Okay, rolling along. Thanks again for the likes on this video. You can like the like. Okay, who are the 5 people who dislike this video? Who are you? You didn't dislike it, honey, did you? Whew, dodged a bullet there. Thanks for liking the video as we're doing it live. Oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh!
What?
Pixie just threw up on the carpet. Okay, so, we just, luckily, just shared an article on LockerGnome.com as I take care of this here, about how to keep your carpet clean, which is really important if you have dogs. And one of the things that I use is a spot cleaner. In fact, I did a video on how to clean poop out of your carpet. I did this a few years ago. And I got a new one that isn't a spot. You don't put it like right over the impacted area. You take a hose and you kind of clean it off, as you go. I'll leave it there for now. Hopefully it won't smell up the home office too badly. But Matt went into ways to keep your carpet clean. And if you have a carpet at home, you need ways of keeping it clean. And another thing that is a possibility to keep your carpets clean, which is important if you have things like dogs or people in your house, chair mats, something that Matt had also recommended. I also, once maybe a year, find a bargain somewhere, like on the Groupon sites or whatever, and get the carpets cleaned once a year. It's good for maintenance. Certainly if you have any amount of traffic in your house. This is something that you don't necessarily think about when you're clean. People are telling me to clean it. Eat it. I'm not going to eat it. Thank you, Demento X666. Now I wonder where you got your Demento name. Dogs definitely have accidents. If you're looking for ways to, keep your carpets clean, we've kind of outlined a few things you might consider to keep your carpets clean. I don't know why anybody would not. Have you ever walked into a house, and this may be yours, and you may be guilty of this, that the carpet was just so bad because it hadn't been cleaned ever? I remember in college, I rented a rug doctor because I threw up. It was one of my first experiences with alcohol as a 21-year-old, and didn't really do a lot of good. It was carpet, but it was carpet-ish. Luckily, I only drink grape juice plus now. I'm good. So, yeah. At least Pixie gives you a warning.
It was Wicked? I thought it was Pixie.
You guys hear? You're gonna hear? And then, I puked. That's what he says. Well, he doesn't really say that. He's a dog. He doesn't talk. So I'm very grateful, Matt, that you have written the article about how to keep the carpets clean. I think the number one tip I would have to add is don't have dogs. It's a bad tip, though, because I love the dogs. We love the dogs. We really do. As much as they may leave parts of themselves on the carpet. Maybe I just wish I could get rid of carpet altogether. Just go with hardwood floors. Anyway, moving along. We write about everything on LockerGnome. We really do. You never know what's going to happen, not just in a live video feed, but on LockerGnome.com. So, years ago, we wanted to publish information online. There was no easy or affordable way of doing it. And so we did everything by hand. Published it, without any kind of content management system because they were all really expensive. And as the years went on, LockerGnome moved to other platforms. We evolved. We actually tried Gray Matter for a brief while. And then we did, I think the original LockerGnome news feed was done in, not Gray Matter, but Blogger. We tried stuff in Blogger. This is before Blogger was acquired by Google. And I actually paid $50 for a Blogger Pro account directly to Evan Williams. moved from Blogger to Movable Type. That was our first full-on CMS, and that was Movable Type 1.0, like years ago. And then did move from Movable Type over to WordPress, which is what we're currently on. So we've evolved over the years with a variety of CMSs. And so I'm certainly no stranger to trying new blogging platforms. And we've written an article of why your business should care more about Tumblr than Google+. And some people are looking at Tumblr as just another blogging platform. It's like Blogger, or it's like Posterous. It's like, WordPress. But it isn't. I mean, if I share something on Tumblr, and if you're following me on Tumblr, there's a greater chance that you're going to reshare it with everybody who's following you on Tumblr. So the virality and the nature of virality within Tumblr is tremendous. It's even more so, I think Tumblr is going to be bigger in terms of how many people are using it, specifically brands, bigger than WordPress. Yes, you can get a WordPress.com account. And you can install it, on your own host. You can. But some people just don't want to go that far. If you want your content to be shared from point A to point B, you want to be in some kind of social media outlet. You got to be jacked in somewhere. And Tumblr provides that really infrastructure for you to start blogging and to have your content, the things that you're creating right now, shared more easily. You could go to lockergnome.com. You could link back to us, and can become the backlink of the day. The value of doing that for us is that we get attention from people who are reading your blog, and then if we link to you, then you get attention from people linking back to, from us, or looking from us, looking at you. So Tumblr, it takes the geek out of all that, right? You just press a button, reshare, boom, done. Like, boom, done. It's so easy. Tumblr has made, Blogger simple. WordPress is easy to use. But most brands, really, if you're going to publish anything online, you want what? If you publish something online, what do you want? You want people to pay attention to it. Period. You want to know that people will read it. People will see it. And so Tumblr makes it easy because you may already have a Tumblr account. And so if you follow a brand or an entity on Tumblr, I've got a Tumblr account. You can follow me. I share stuff regularly, photos and links and everything on Tumblr. But I don't have a lot of people following me on Tumblr because I have chris.pirillo.com and LockerGnome, which they're currently running on WordPress. Tumblr is a great platform. It's easy to use. And Kelly's absolutely right. In the article that she wrote, brands need to be paying attention to Tumblr because the ability to get content in front of other people and get them to reshare it is accelerated at a factor that's even greater than Google+. And Tumblr, don't ignore it. If you're ignoring Tumblr, this is something that, I would have looked at it like a Pinterest. Like, how does that fit in? I don't really have the solution. Just because the tool isn't for me doesn't mean it's not for somebody else. And I think Tumblr, and Kelly makes the right argument, Tumblr is really good. If you're creating content and you want other people to share that content, putting it on Tumblr could be a good thing. Where it may not be a good thing is if you're trying to make money so by selling ads. It won't work as well. Tumblr wasn't built for that, at least at this point in time. But for brands, they're not necessarily as interested in that as they are getting their information or their content from point A to point B. So my question to you now is, are you using Tumblr for your blogging platform? If so, why? If you haven't looked at Tumblr, why? Why have you not looked? Are you interested at all? Why would you not be interested? Curious to know. Again, if only to see the makeup of the audience that's watching this particular video. It's interesting from the perspective of just getting up and running and really making it easy to get content out there. YouTube's done that for video. I think, you can upload video to Tumblr, but Tumblr, I think, has done that in terms of ease of resharing and getting the information out there more than I think any other blogging platform has to this point. That's my perspective. That's my opinion. Yes, you can see that we're rolling a little past an hour, but I'm not done yet. Do you guys really want me to stop? You really want me to stop this video? I don't. I'm happy rocking and rolling all the way through. Let's see here. Got a couple more things I want to share with everybody. I was watching a video the other day about it was David DeFranco, and he was talking about why he was returning the Kindle Fire. And I watched the video, and he was making so much sense in what he was talking about. He gave all good reasons, like it just wasn't ready, it was half-baked. He's right. The software currently is not that great. The hardware experience is kind of like meh. He's right. It is meh. It's $200. Great. But unfortunately, he probably could have used, as many other people could have used, that $200 in another way. Saved it for another device or just saved it outright. Once you're spoiled by a good experience, going to a less than good experience, kind of jarring. So people were giving him tons of hate, and that really, it made me mad. To the point where I blogged about, the Kindle Fire, my experiences, and what Amazon can do to make it better. They need to constantly be evolving the software experience. I love things that Amazon does. Talked about Prime before. I've talked about done videos on using Amazon, what's the grocery delivery, Amazon Fresh. But the Kindle Fire needs a lot of work. Even for $200, the software is just so lackluster. One thing I like about what Amazon's doing is every day they have a free app that you can download from the App Store, as given access to by Amazon. I think that it will evolve. It will get better. It should. But it's not a killer device. It's certainly not. Even at that price point, it's. And as I put in the article, and we've written a couple of Amazon Kindle articles. The one that I did, about being on fire, and we have the Amazon Kindle Fire further observations and simple solutions posted as well, because we're getting our hands dirty with this stuff. But it's to the point now where, and I've got the Kindle Fire downstairs. The batteries lasted a long time because I haven't really used it. I would rather, as sitting there, if I was sitting there all comfortable and everything and need to look something up online, I would rather get up, walk to my home office, get another device, and walk back to get something on the web than to do this and pick up the Kindle Fire and start using it. The experience is just not that good. Specs are irrelevant. I don't care how fast it is, how big the screen is. If it sucks, it sucks. So the things that should make it great aren't great because the software is just lacking. David DeFranco is right. This is not ready. It's not ready. Buy it now, but expect that it's not a great experience. You get a free Android app every day, and it's $200. If that's good enough for you, awesome. Maybe the device will have paid it for itself, within a short amount of time because of that. That's great. But it's not a good experience yet. Buy it now. Keep your fingers crossed that Amazon will continue to make that software experience better. I'm not getting rid of mine. There's no point in getting rid of it. I think it'll be interesting to watch as Amazon, theoretically, continues to update the software. At some point, I might root it. But then again, by rooting it and going with something like Ice Cream Sandwich when it's available, specifically for the Kindle, I'm devaluing everything that Amazon's bringing to the table with the Fire. Access to all their live streaming content. Yes, I could get Netflix, and Netflix is available on the Fire. Hulu Plus, available on the Fire. But it's just not, it's not fun to use. I don't love the device. And honestly, Diana, have you even touched the Fire?
No.
She doesn't. That, to me, that speaks volumes because, I'm an edge user, just like a lot of people out there. And, I turn to people who are way more intelligent than I am, like my girlfriend. I said, well, what do you think? And she's more like the 99% than we are. If we're edge users, you trying this stuff. I could look at something and see some promise in it, but that doesn't mean it's there today. So if you hated on David DeFranco, you were wrong. You were wrong, and you owe him an apology. Seriously, I was really, really upset at how people were just dragging him across the coals. It's not his fault. How is it his fault that Amazon put out a product that wasn't ready yet? How is that anywhere near his fault?
I blame him.
Diana watches David DeFranco's vlogs. So don't blame people for their perspectives or their opinions on these devices. That's their perspective. It's their opinion. If you spent the money on David DeFranco's Kindle Fire, then you have a right to tell him what he can and cannot do with it. But if you're not putting down the money, you have absolutely no right in telling him what he can and cannot do, what he should and should not do. And then expect a different response. David's going to do what he wants to do. You're going to do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm holding on to my Kindle Fire. I'm going to keep pressing Amazon to keep releasing software updates. That has promise. It does. It absolutely has promise. The thing that pulls me in to using the Kindle Fire every morning is checking for the free app. I'm just going to tell you. That's really what it is. That's it. Otherwise, I ain't going to use it. It sucks. It's not that good right now. Right now. Today. That will, should, and can change. Or will, can, and should change. Or keep going, Jeff Bezos. Even though I'm sure... You know, I got blacklisted from Amazon PR with the first Kindle because I was deemed not positive. Yeah, I wrote about that on Locker Dome, further into that experience. That was because I basically told Jeff Bezos, not in person, but in email, I said, look, give the Kindle hardware away. The real value is the software. It's the services you're providing. Fast forward to today, Amazon ain't making any money with the hardware. It's all made up in services. Thing costs over $200 to manufacture, the Fire. But they're making it up for in Prime subscriptions. Or pulling people deeper into the Amazon experience. The Kindle, you can get the software for anything. In fact, you can use a web browser to read your Kindle books. So I don't know. I'm really kind of lukewarm on the Fire anymore. So moving along. I'm getting a little hot under the collar here. I think it's the lights doing this for long enough here. No matter what brand you favor, the tablet will rule 2012. So it's a nice segue from this discussion of the Kindle Fire. Did you need something, honey?
No, I was trying to see.
Oh, you're trying to see the comments?
No, yeah.
We got a lively discussion going on. We're doing pretty well. I think anytime you talk, we get way more likes. And then, Chris, that's a stupid idea. What? What's a stupid idea exactly? You got to be a little more specific when telling me it's a stupid idea. Let me read the headline again. No matter what brand you favor, the tablet will rule 2012. And having just discussed the Kindle Fire, and of course talked about the iPad ad nauseum, and all these other tablets that are out there, although, I don't know if you guys caught the news, but Best Buy, I think, is not going to be selling the Playbook. Yikes. People want a tablet. They want a good tablet. They want something that's thin and lightweight that they can touch and interact with because they may be used to that experience with their smartphone. And it's getting to the point now where computers, and I did mention this earlier, are cheaper. Like a full-on computer is cheaper than a tablet. And I have to use quotes because a tablet is a computer. It does everything a computer can do. Different features, but it's still a computer. Your smartphone, as I've argued before, is a computer. So people are now seeing these experiences. Every other commercial I see on television, yes, I still watch commercials. There's some kind of touch interaction going on. They figured out how to get a touch experience into their brand or their product messaging. Sometimes it's very oddly. People are now hearing enough about tablets. The iPad's been around long enough. The idea of a computer anymore is kind of like, this thing costs $300 and all it does is collect dust. That's it. The little netbook. It's like, why would I use this? It's heavy. It's clunky, and but it has ports that I never used. I mean, why would I use that rather than a tablet experience, which is lightweight, has amazing battery life, does everything I needed to do, email, web browsing, a little bit of software experiences depending on what's available in the App Store. So whether you use brand X, brand Y, or brand Z, I think the mainstream market is going towards this idea of a tablet computer. These tablet experiences are trumping. It's so easy to use what Amazon set up with the marketplace. And I don't mean the Android market, because the problem with the Android market is there's still a lot of crap out there. Amazon has at least culled through and just vetted what goes into the marketplace. It's easy to tap a button, and then have it installed. Great. No muss, no fuss. Android makes it easy, but Amazon's got that vetted experience. I push that to average consumers who don't know an iPad from, say, a Kindle Fire. And that, I think, is really where the competition is going to lie for tablets. Even though you can't compare an iPad to a Kindle Fire, people are going to do that. They're going to say, well, I only have this much to spend. What should I get? Well, you can save your money and get this, or you can spend your money now and get that, but you're going to be lacking a lot of things that you really probably wish you would have had by the time you got it. So gaming, one guy, 218, says it. I would say most of my gaming happens either on my smartphone or my iPad at this point in time. Really. I've got Angry Birds on the Kindle Fire, but I already have Angry Birds on the iPhone and the iPad, so really, why would I need to play it somewhere else? I really wouldn't. What do you think about Windows 8 and having full Windows OS experience for a tablet versus iOS or Android? JC Whirl FL, sorry if I messed up your username. Exactly. Look at what Microsoft's doing with Windows 8. So now we've got the iPad, the Kindle Fire as probably the leading tablet. I know Samsung's trying their best with the Galaxy experiences and the tablets and tablet experiences. Get it? I don't know if you guys ever tab, as in tablet. They're doing good, but they're still a little overpriced. If you're going to compete with the iPad, and that's what Samsung's trying to do with the Galaxy Tab, you have to lower the price point. You have to. Why do you think the Kindle Fire is selling so much? It's not because it's awesome. It's okay, as we've covered before, but it's affordable. And sometimes you get what you pay for. Now we're going to have full-on Windows PCs that are more optimized for touch. How will that translate, though? How will that touch experience work? I don't know. And it's all contingent on the device partners that release Windows 8 tablet experiences. I don't think using the Metro UI on the desktop, like with a traditional mouse and a keyboard, is going to work all that well. But like if I was able to use my TouchSmart PC and upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 8 and use the touch experience, I think I would be a lot happier with that. So no matter which one you go with, whether it's going to be an iPad, a Kindle Fire, let's say another Android tablet, I doubt you're going to get a Playbook. I think they're about dead. Or a Windows 8 tablet experience. People are thinking more and more about using this as a primary interactive experience, or doing this instead of doing this. That's me trying to I'm mousing. The only thing that's really missing is that effective, good keyboard, at which point you might as well just tether something by way of Bluetooth and be happy. PlayerGuz2 says, I think tablets should go up and beyond. They should be able to connect to computer screens and have a slot for USB keyboards. Bluetooth, why would I need a slot? Why tether yourself to a slot, dude? Come on! Think forward. Forward! Do you use any connected peripheral anymore? Everything I use is wireless. Cameras on tablets, C606. Cameras on tablets are good if you're doing like kind of Skype chatting or FaceTiming with people. But anytime you see someone hold up a gigantic pad screen to take a picture, it looks stupid. You make fun of them. God, no one uses it for the cameras for that. I mean, you could use it for basic things, but not like... It's a little awkward. Come on, admit it. You make fun of people who do that with big screens. Admit it. See, look, even Troy Rudder, an old friend from Iowa, says, I laugh when I see people holding up their iPad to film something. It just looks odd. Tablets in 2012 are the name of the game. Whether you like it or not, they're here to stay. So, my question to you, which tablet do you have? And if you don't have a tablet yet, which one do you want? I have an iPad, very happy with it. I have an Amazon Kindle Fire, not as happy with it yet. I've covered that in another video. And I'm very much looking forward to my first Windows 8 touch experience to know whether or not I want a Windows 8 tablet. We'll see. Everybody's got a different answer. Everyone's got a different response. But 2012 seems like it's the year. The best Android tablet, honestly, I think is the Kindle Fire, to tell you the truth. Rounding out the news. Do computers need black boxes for disaster tracking and solving? So, there's an old joke of, hey, if the black box is the one thing that survives a plane crash, why isn't the whole plane made out of the same materials? We're not there yet, really. But I think, when disaster strikes, when we're talking about our computers, it's bad. Because unless you've taken the steps, the precautions, to make sure that all your data is safe, you're in trouble. Then you have to worry about data recovery, getting all that stuff back. There are ways to dance around it. But keeping yourself protected from random spills is certainly a first line of defense. I have cases on the notebook computers that I carry around with me, if only to keep them safe from dings and scratches. I have a case on my phone. It's largely to keep it protected from potential elements. And, I think if there is a black box experience, and I know Sherman goes into this at detail with the article, I guess, to me, the best black box experience for your computer is the cloud. If for argument's sake, if something happened to my hard drive on my primary machine, it would be a problem. I'd be a little upset, but I wouldn't be devastated because my black box, all that data is in the cloud. I could replace a hard drive, easy. I could lose a notebook computer. Someone could steal it. I'd be out in a coffee shop. I turn around, it's gone. Well, I've got the iCloud, not back to my Mac, but Find My Mac feature, so I could track it down that way. But even so, even if that wasn't the case, I don't keep any data on my notebook computer. I get to it remotely. I may keep things, temporarily on there, but I keep it all in the cloud, so I can get back to it at any point in time. It doesn't bother me. And so your black box for your computer is the internet. You can replace the hardware. You can reinstall the software. It will take time. But the idea that everything has to be here at one physical location is more dangerous because you get yourself locked into an outmoded way of thinking. So, Sherman brings up a good point. Do computers need black boxes for disaster tracking and solving, or, specifically problem solving? You get the idea anymore, and we covered this too with the earlier segment on 2012 being the year of the tablet. We're no longer stuck to, chained to, tethered to, by way of some kind of cable even, these experiences, these great screen, huge screen. I can't carry that around with me. I can't carry either one. They're both the same size. Don't want to track it. It's a headache. I do not worry. I don't go to bed at night worrying that my hard drive's going to crash. Just not. It's not a worry anymore. It can happen. But I'm not worried. Keep your data safe if you're going to store it remotely. I currently waiting for an update for a product. I've talked about it in the past. There's plenty of online backup systems. Everyone's got their favorite. I'm sure people will posit them here. And I always recommend keeping a copy of all your precious data in a safe deposit box at a bank. Back it up once a year. Keep regular backups off site. You never know what's going to happen with that stuff. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to what turned out to be quite a lengthy live video session. I think tomorrow's will probably be shorter. We had a lot to cover today. And hopefully this makes everybody happy. I was able to kind of cover these topics in depth as well as to get the word out about what we've been doing on Locker Room. Thank you for subscribing to YouTube. Thank you for subscribing to the Locker Room email newsletter. Thank you for following me all over social media. And thank you for participating with this live video feed. Thank you for liking the video as well. I'm very happy that so many of you were able to tune in and participate with this. Of course, I have the live video feed going out over the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at live.pirillo.com. Still is, although I put a cap over the front of it so people knew to watch the live video on YouTube during this time. Thank you for the feedback. We are continuously refining, what we talk about, how we share stuff, how we're doing videos. This is just evolutionary, man. There's never such a thing as we've done well enough. It's always trying to do better. So thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your understanding, your patience. We certainly appreciate the questions that you're asking. Hopefully I was able to address a few of them. Like I said, the video went on a little longer than an hour. I kind of didn't anticipate we'd have so much to share, but we did, and we do. But feel free to continue to give us feedback. We're doing the best we can. My email address, as I've mentioned before, chris@Pirillo.com. Very happy, again, to at least try this. 200,000 subscribers. Yes, that's right. That many people want to tune in. So let me go ahead. Woo! I think I'm going to need to stay more hydrated tomorrow. We're doing this again tomorrow. Every single weekday, we're doing live video on YouTube. The link will be teased out on all the networks as I've done before. And I'll be sure you can click the link and then you can watch the countdown for YouTube Live, unless the video's already been live. We're also working on doing like a shared Google Calendar, so you'll have a calendar of events. Tomorrow, it's going to be a few hours later because I have a meeting with AMD across town. And so it'll probably be 6 p.m. tomorrow, the live video, which doesn't make sense if you're watching this video. Although if you watch this video after it's been encoded on YouTube, it's a long video to sit through. Either way, this is what's going to happen to TLDR. This is TLDR. This is it. We're just doing the best we can. So tomorrow, stay tuned for the next live video feed, and until next time, we'll see you later.